Yeah, definitely got the imposter syndrome, but I've had some people tell me, like, if not you, then who, you know, like I've done the time, I've sort of earned my stripes and feel like I've really got something to offer.
That first part of the story is just like incredible. And I think what we'll probably touch on is, we chatted about it off air, but you talk about these different events that have happened in your life as different trials and things.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
We were chatting about Norm and I guess his boys now taking over the business. You've come to Marcus. Like, was there events or tipping points that, like, I'm going to say not forced you, but like, yeah, got you to play the hand and go, actually, there's more that I need to learn, look at, etc.?
Yeah, I've always like all these trials and whatnot, I've always had this mentality of, you tell me I can't do something or whatever, I'm going to prove you wrong, I guess, would be the thing. And like any challenge in my life, I've always tried to overcome it and use it as a stepping stone, you know. So like my parents' divorce, it was really hard on me because I was so young and whatnot. That was like a stepping stone for me. And I was playing up, I was really wild and whatnot, but it made me tough, you know, like it made me tough for those sort of things. And I was talking before about rodeoing and the challenge of trying to overcome and get good at that, and the hard knocks. Like I fractured my neck twice doing saddle bronc. First time was only not long. I'd made a set of finals and I was only probably 18, and I just got speared off this horse and my whole neck clicked back and I hairline fractured my C6, and then it happened again in America. I hung a stirrup and got whipped over on the offside, so my left foot was hung up and I was just like a little whip cracker, just cracked me old neck on the ground. But I was super lucky, you know. I only wore a brace for a little while and was never.
How long's a little while?
Maybe I wore a brace for only a few weeks. Like they said, the brace is good in the early days, but you really needed to get that. You don't want to lose all that muscle and whatnot. So yeah, I sort of wore a brace for a little while. It was never anything that I needed surgery on, but my old neck's definitely pretty stiff from it now.
My God.
But yeah, never. It doesn't worry me, you know. I was at a But yeah, all these things, my old man passing and all that, were all building blocks for me. Like if I could overcome these things rather than let them ruin me and then lay in the dirt and sulk or whatever, I just used them as building blocks, you know. Like it took a year after my old man died to really overcome that depression and basically now it's changed who I was. All these events change who you are, and like people change. Some people say, oh, people don't change, but they do. It's up to them to change. You can either, like I was saying, sulk about it or use that to your advantage and let that harden you up. And you don't want to be too hard, but at the same time, overcoming the adversity and the hardships and whatnot, it just makes you so much more open to handling tough things in your life, whether it's someone shorts you on money or, you know, one of your old mentors is not who you thought he was, all that sort of stuff. You can handle things so much better, you know, like all these things I've used as building blocks, and that's what's led me to here is basically I'm trying to build myself up all the time, and like I've started boxing in Geelong and I've got this bit of a rare fight up in Pittsworth in 6 weeks, I think it is, and that's just another thing for me to overcome, you know. I don't want to go and stand in there and bang with someone for no reason, but it's me proving to myself, you can do it, mate, you can handle the training, and like they're just building blocks for me, and everything I do, whether it's saddle bronc, whatever it is, flying, getting a chopper license, getting this diploma at the end of the year, it's just all proving to me that whatever I put my mind to, I can achieve. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going to end up, but yeah, I've used all these events to my advantage, and that's one of the thing that I'm probably proud of the most, has been able to overcome all these hardships and not worry about them, mate. You use them to your advantage is all I can say to you. Use everything that happens to your advantage. There's a lesson and everything on what not to do, or, you know, bloody, don't let stuff ruin you is the thing I'm trying to say, I suppose.
Yeah. No, and because this is something like I've wondered a lot. Like you've faced like more than your fair share of challenges. And then off the back of that too, there's some incredible things that have happened.
Yeah.
One thing I'm trying to work out, like for myself now, is like, do you, when these things happen and you go, all right, actually, we just need to keep the momentum moving forwards because otherwise you'll stall. Like,
yeah.
When it comes to and I guess the question's probably around like reflection, but like when it's a good thing or a bad thing, like do you really sit there like with yourself to think about that and reflect on it?
Yeah, I guess I've had no choice. Like flying, like my old man passing, flying, you're on your own like all the time out there. Yeah, you're working with the crew and you're mustering cattle, but the amount of time you get to think in the air is amazing. Like you don't worry, I've had a lot of dark thoughts when I was down and whatnot. But you look at the world in a different way. Yeah, that's what I've always loved. I always like being on my own. At the same time, I love my mates and whatnot, but being on my own is when I've really grown, and as like you say, reflection and just like thinking deep into these things and what can become of them, and doesn't matter if they're good or bad, like I love thinking, up here is where it's at, you really can work things out. Some people can't stand to be on their own and be in their thoughts, and that's a worry. You gotta bloody get used to being on your own and dealing with your own problems and whatnot. And yeah, get help if you're having trouble with it, but you just got to back yourself. Hey, I back myself to a T. I'll fight until I die. Is the mentality I think you got to have. Like, yeah.
And have you always had that?
Yeah, I think I have. I think it comes from my parents. Like just that go get it, hard working, determination. Yeah, I've definitely always had that. And like when I was talking about like having problems with authority, I'll just always stand up for myself or whatever, and it was rare, like I don't know how to explain that, but just like it didn't matter whether it was bullying or not. It didn't matter if you got bashed or whatever happened. Like when you're growing up, just stand up for yourself and yeah, overcome these things. Otherwise, you bloody I know people who sort of let that get the best of them. And where are they now? Like a lot of my mates that I went to school, some of them wildcats, I wouldn't know where they are. They spend a lot of time in juvie. Some of them fellas like bloody wouldn't know where they are. What happened to them? Mate, it's pretty sad, And bloody it wasn't a real bad town they were in, but. And then there's other fellas who've done really well, whether it's football or whatever they did. They've made something of themselves, But yeah, you can certainly lay there in the dirt and grovel, but you've got to keep moving forward. Yeah, exactly. Bloody stay out of all the bad stuff, as well, like all the drugs and all that stuff. So many people fall into that game and rely on it. You can't be happy without that sort of stuff. And yeah, never ends good, does it? It's a terrible thing.
Yeah. Now, the last card which I've turned over, and I reckon it's still there. I did it with someone a few weeks ago. Or maybe it's not. No, it's not. But I'm going to ask you because it's one which stuck with me. I'm fascinated on.
Yep.
The question was, do you think your younger self would look up to you today and be proud of the person you've become?
Yeah, definitely. Like my younger self was just a wildcat, I was bloody. I never thought I'd end up where I am now, and who knows where I'm going to end up, but I'm always evolving. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, yeah, you think back and I look back and I'm sort of embarrassed about who I was and how, like, why did I carry on so much and rebel so hard? But at the same time, I'm proud of it in a way because it made me who I am, like this same thing, overcoming those things. I had to deal with all that stuff in a different way, and I was rebelling back then. So yeah, it's, yeah, I definitely think the younger version would look up to who I am now. I'm still a pretty wild character, I suppose. Adrenaline junkie or whatever it is. But yeah, I definitely a good role model in the sense that I've had some mates go through some really hard things, and like the Fisher boys losing Norm last year, like I ended up getting them to come down to another really good friends of mine to the Lansdowns, and they come down and spend a month with us working horses because they really wanted to know about like breaking horses and riding horses because their old man was good at it but never had time to show them, and they'd sort of gone out of that game from the early days of breaking in brumbies and using brumbies. And so they come down and just to get them out of the territory for a while and to work horses, they just loved it, and being able to show them boys stuff, and Mitchie and Teresa show them boys stuff, and they were like, this is like Yellowstone, they reckon, because the Lansdowne family have got amazing setup and really good horses. And so that was so cool, like to be able to help like my mates like that who've been through trouble. Another good mate, Lukey Robinson, he lost his old man in the last year too, and just being able to talk him through stuff and talk to him about how I went through it, and like just you got to keep your chin up and stay busy, mate, and reach out, like your mates, be around your mates if you can, and he's a hard working fella, and like he's just been in Kununurra and out there on his own, and yeah, he's handled it really well, he's just head down, ass up sort of thing, and work can definitely, I think for me, work got me through it, and work's got him through it, and yeah, just staying busy, don't get in your head too much. That's the thing. Like when I was flying, it was hard not to be in your head, but it was good when I had a crew and I had cattle going everywhere. Give me something to think about and how to do each job each day, you know. So, and then the horses, it was just all escapes for me, just yeah. So yeah.
And so the territory had meant so much to you personally, to your family. Tell me about the decision coming to Marcus. What was your expectations coming in?
Yeah, I had no idea, you know, like what it was going to be like. And I'm obviously a bit older than a fair few of the guys there. There's a few older fellas there, but yeah, it was a big thing. It was a huge thing for me to put a year off of work, you know, like I all my money comes off my own back and what I can do, you know, and to put a year off and definitely landing that scholarship was a game changer, you know. Like I probably still would have come, but it would have been extremely hard for me to sacrifice a year's work and income to come down here. So no, now that I am here, I'm loving it. Like I think a lot of people should come down here, but don't come when you're too young. I reckon go and do a few years and work out. Have a rough idea of where you want to go when you actually, like, if you want to learn about business, what is the business you want to go and do? You know, like. Have a bit of a game plan. So when you get here and you learn all these skills and whatnot, you can use them to evolve that thing. And since I've been here, I've got this confidence to pull on this stuff that I want to do next year, which I'd love to talk about. Like I'm going to do a bit of fencing. I got good mates going to go in partnership with me and do fencing. He'll run the show and whatnot, and I'll own a bit of the gear and so we'll do a bit of contract fencing. But where my real passion is I want to build the stock handling school. And there's a few fellas doing it up there around the Gulf and in the territory and whatnot. My style is just so different. It's all my dad's stuff. He was so passionate about it, and he had drawn all these amazing sketches on how to work cattle and whatnot. And I'm building on them. I want to build my own sort of thing and add to his stuff that he left me. And I've got all this flying to back it. You know, like I've seen it from the flying side. I've seen all these different crews and how they operate and what works, what doesn't work, and what I'm learning here at Marcus about working people and people skills and how to communicate with your crew, because it's sort of. The game's changed up there, you know, like the head stockmans, and I'm not pointing the finger at everyone. There's a lot of really good shows who are doing an amazing job, but I've seen a lot that are like the old mates 21 or 22 and trying to run all these 18, 9-year-olds who are going up there straight out of school, don't really know anything about the bush, and then they've got this young fellow who's head stockman because he's been there 2 years longer than them to try and run them. Like the stress on him as well as like trying to run them, man, and then trying to run cattle and operate cattle, shape cattle up to string them out and whatnot. When shit hits the fan, like being on the flying side, shit hits the fan, they start yelling at their man. And as soon as you start yelling at someone, you lose, you know, they explained it to Marcus, you yell at someone, then he's only going to give you 80% next time. And then you yell at him again, you're just losing respect, you know, because you're losing your cool. You don't know how to handle that situation. And people are lucky up there. Oh, we'll get the chopper, you know. Choppers are great to get cattle together, get them onto waters and whatnot, but when it comes to walking cattle and getting them to the yard and yarding up, you shouldn't need a chopper. You know, you should have enough abilities to basically be able to handle all them big sappy wieners or whatever it is, whatever challenge you got that day, and not run into trouble. And all it is positioning your man, knowing how to read cattle and knowing how to train your men to basically have enough understanding to know their position, know to look behind them, and it's all team effort. And so my schools are going to be very different to what's going on up there. I'm going to teach these guys a lot more about communicating and working, man, and getting the ego out of it too. You know, some of these guys are on a bit of a power trip, and there's a really handy young fella shows up in their crew who's got this amazing understanding and he's super good, works really hard, and there's a bit of a jealousy to it, and these guys want to hold them back and always blaming them for whatever goes wrong and whatnot. You've got to learn to work as a team, and by bettering your men, you're only going to put yourself high, you know, and you want to work up your ranks to, you know, overseer, assistant manager. You've got to be able to basically level your crew up, and eventually your crew will take your position, and it's all a cycle. But everyone up there now, a lot of these bigger places and whatnot, the whole crew will leave. Even head stockmans will leave. Next year, it'll be a whole new crew. You start fresh. Those guys don't know the country. They don't know that place. They don't know how the cattle work there and whatnot. So like every year sort of starting from scratch, and I'd hate to think of the money spent in training these guys every year and the chopper hours, because everything just, they run a bit of a route and you end up chasing the cattle all the way to the yard, and the cattle get yarded by the machine, and the extra hours and the stress and mismothering and it's all a snowball effect. You've got to get on top of it and change its trend. And if we can get more staff retention, these guys sticking around and they see a career, in the bush up there, it'd be game changer, you know. And I'm not going to give away all my secrets on how how I'm planning on doing that and what's different to me. But yeah, I definitely got some ideas, and I'm talking to some people and trying to get that happening. I hope I can pull it off. So
I've got 3 questions, or 2 or 3 questions off of that. First one being, like, why do you want to do this, and kind of what's the impact that you want to have from that?
Yeah. So a lot of people are like, oh, what are you going back flying? Why do you want to get out of flying? And yeah, flying's been amazing, been a lot of fun, seen a lot of country. But flying I'm at the stage now, buy a machine, go and do it for however long. When you own a machine, you live in it. Like, that's your life. Forget about having horses and whatnot. Whatever your passions are, throw them out the window. If you're not in that machine, you're not making money. So I don't want to fly. I want to do maybe a month or 2 for my friends each year, just because I do like getting up there and the freedom it gives me. But it's not what I want to do anymore. My passion lies in educating cattle, educating people, and training horses. Like, when my old man left me all his bloodline of horses from America, like, our blood goes right back to that American blood, and it's really old. And he left a lot of that to Jono and I, and I've continued to breed them, you know, and so I've got all this good young stuff coming through. So if I can work out a way to be training my horses, working on my horses, and can train that with working cattle and educating people, that's I'm just that excited to. If I can pull that off, that'll be game changer for me, you know, and good for my head. Like, just that's what I love doing. So to bring all those 3 things together will be next level for me. If that answers your question, no,
yeah,
sure.
It does.
Yeah.
The other one being around, like, the fears and dreams part. And so I know you, like, you've got to hold on to the nitty gritty of the idea.
Yep.
But how beneficial have you found it actually sharing, I guess, at a high level, like, what the dream is that you're trying to achieve?
Yeah. Really, it's really cool, you know, and it's like sort of old connections and whatnot that have seen and knew my dad. But like, a lot of this is off my dad because of his reputation and whatnot, and then they've seen what I've done as well. So they sort of know that I'm onto something, and they know that I've done the time. Like, 27 is pretty young to go and try and train these people, but it's not really. I know these people. I know I've worked with them for a lot of years now, and these young crews, and I've had to adapt and use them from the chopper point of view, position them. And if I knew they were really green, I'd set them up in a position. I'd still use them. Some people won't use them. They'll say, sit under that tree, mate, and I come and shut the gate when we're done, you know. Like, yeah. But I was always big on trying to use these guys and throwing them in the mix, because they get better and better, and then you go back there in 3 months' time, they're a better man altogether. So I'm trying to remember your question. What's it like?
Putting the dreams, but also maybe the fears out there. Have you put the fears out there around starting this? Or is there any?
Yeah, I definitely have that. What is that called? Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big one. That one. Yeah, definitely got the imposter syndrome. But I've had some people tell me, like, if not you, then who? You know, like I've done the time. I've sort of earned my stripes and feel like I've really got something to offer. So if I don't pull it on, I never will. I was saying, you wait for the right time, it'll never come. So yeah, let's see what happens, and if it works out, it works out. Yeah. So and
if not now, when?
Yeah, exactly. The dream down the future. Like, I'm not coming in to tell you how to work stock at all. I'm not trying to change how you do things. I'm trying to give you a heap of tools that you can use and build your own style. Like, there's a million ways to do everything, whether it's breaking in horses or educating cattle or walking cattle. Million ways to do it. You know, I'm going to give you a wedge of tools that might help your style. You know, like just even communicating with men, like these little tricks. You know. Which I think are going to really help people, and they can adapt their own style. Everyone's going to have a different point of view, and you know, some of these guys I could be teaching could end up being way better than me. You wouldn't know. So it's just, I'm excited. That's the dream, to build a system that really helps these guys and gives these guys all the tools whenever they need it. Like, I don't have to be there. They'll have it at the touch of a button, you know, and yeah, so we'll see. But yeah.
That's cool. And as you say, like, they'll be smarter than you. I was only reading a book yesterday at my desk, and like, the opening line is like, the best business managers are the dumbest person in the room.
Yeah.
But they're the smartest because they know what questions to ask of the smart people.
Yeah, exactly. There was another good old fellow who had a saying, you know, I don't know anything about, like, whether it's business or whatever, but I've got the ability to hire someone that does, and I can bring all these skills together. And that's, like you say, a good operator can bring all these and be smart enough to know and understand that he doesn't know what he's doing as such. So hire someone that does. Yeah.
One question I've got, and I haven't really asked many people this question before, but that ability to change jobs, and I think what's really cool about you is how you say that you really haven't had a home for 15 or so years.
Yeah.
But how important has changing jobs been in actually enabling you to be able to get the clarity around how you can turn this idea into the dream?
Yeah, definitely. I've always been a gypsy, you know, like I've always loved, like, when you've been somewhere for 3 months and whatnot, and you sort of start to get a little bit sour, you know, if you're doing the same thing day in and day out. And that's why I love that contractor lifestyle, or just the ability to float between places and meet people and learn off everyone else. And like the career changes that I done, like that, they're all building blocks, like I was talking about earlier. Like they all just build you up. And every year I seem to be a different character. Like I'm down here, and these are like the tools I'm getting from Marcus. That's another building block for me to evolve into this next character, you know. And I think if you just sit in the one spot and get comfortable, that comfort is the worst thing you can, you know. People get comfortable in relationships, in workplaces and whatnot, and they never leave and whatnot. In my eyes, you've got to keep evolving. And do you want to work for someone for the rest of your life, or do you want to have your own thing running? And the old Dennis Conway, he says you got to make money work for you. You know, you got to have them dollars ticking over in the paddock, you know, and whether it's steers getting fat or whatever. So when you go to sleep at night, you still got money coming in, you know. And I've got to adjust, and I've got to evolve to where I can get like that too. I'm not there yet, but it's going to take revenue to get to a place where I've got money ticking over for me. But that's the dream, you know, like to basically whether it is cattle or real estate, whatever I end up deciding to go into. But yeah, all these things are going to be just sort of build myself a business to where I can sort of, I'll never relax, but I just have money to do what I want to do. That'd be unreal, you know, and help young people. I'm big on helping people who are willing to learn. I got no time for people that don't want to learn. My dad did as well, you know, like people would go out working with the old man where there was winter breaking and whatnot, and they'll say, oh, I heard he was a hard old bastard and used to yell at everyone. He didn't say a thing to me. Oh, I must have done good. My old man wouldn't say a thing to you if he didn't think you were worth it. If you were a lazy bugger or thought you knew it or whatever, he would just send you to the back and wouldn't help you at all. But if he was yelling at you, riding up to you, explaining different things, it's because he was trying to build you up. Like, he took a lot of pride in trying to help people. He was a hard man on the way he taught. But yeah, if you're worth it, he'd put the time in. I'm the same. If you've got an open mind and you're willing to learn, I'll pour all my time into you. And it's like the Fisher boys, like just wanting to learn about horses. I knew they were that keen on willing to learn. It's like I'll give you 110% of my time and help you. You know, you want to breed horses, whatever you want to do, I'll try and help you get there. You know, so. Yeah, I'm big on helping people if they're willing to, if they want to be helped, I guess is the word.
We've done 170 interviews now, and so one thing I need to get better at is asking people different, like for them to give me a question to ask a future guest. I've asked you a couple already, but like one question, and as you were saying the last piece around, I guess through the stock handling, what you actually the impact is and the why behind it. But I had someone. God, it was a while. It was probably a couple of years ago. And the question they wanted me to ask a future guest was, what does a good life look like to you? And I'd love to know that from your perspective.
That's a good question, eh? I like that. What's a good life look for me? Like I've always had a dream of owning my own country. I don't want heaps of country. I'd love a good life to me would be to have a block where I can run all my horses, run a few cows, and then and still have all these other jobs ticking away, but just somewhere to call home. Haven't had a home for a long, long time, and I've been lucky enough to have good mates like the Lansdowns who let me leave my horses there from time to time and stuff like that. Like I love that, and one day I want to have that, and I want to be able to, you know, just kick back and look at what I got and be proud and to know where I've come from. And I guess that's a good life to me, being able to run my own horses on my own country and have a few cows and just train me old brumbies up and stuff like that. I suppose, I don't know. That's a good life to me.
Sounds pretty good, really.
Yeah, it sounds good, but who knows if we'll get there, eh?
Yeah, you can always learn. Now, is there anything else that you want to talk about?
No, mate, I'm pretty happy, eh? I sort of dove into a few things and got to talk about a few of the industries and that, eh? That was definitely the goal of the day, was tell a bit of a story about where I come from and talk about what's next. So no, I appreciate you that you giving me the chance to do that. It's awesome. So
No, well, thank you so much for sharing. I think so many people are going to take so much out of this chat.
No, I hope so. Yeah, hope they don't think I'm an old redneck out of the scrub. But no, thank you. It's good.
I don't think it matters. Now, one question I need to finish on, ask everyone. If you get the chance to go and chat to Year 10 students about why they should pursue a career in agriculture, what would you say to them?
Geez, I'd love just to I'd have a slideshow for one, like the slideshow I used at the speech last week, and I'll be like, mate, the career opportunities in the bush are endless, and the passion you learn, like the passion I've got for working cattle and whatever, the satisfaction you get out of it, like you work so hard, but just the places you get to go and really that connection with the bush is unheard of. These poor guys that get stuck in the trend of paying heaps of rent and working from paycheck to paycheck, and every weekend, what are we going to do for fun? We're going to go party like that. I feel so sorry for them poor buggers that never can break that cycle, and rent's through the roof, and all they want to do is own their own home, and to get a loan is so hard. There's so many opportunities in the bush because you just, for one, you supplied food, no rent. Depends where you are, but it's just, it can sort of give you building blocks, and it builds so much character, and you meet a lot of cool people in the bush. And yeah, I don't know. One day I'd love to stand up in front of some kids and know that there's troubled kids there like I was, and bloody say, listen, mate, this could be your ticket out if you want it. So it doesn't matter if you don't even know what a beast looks like. Go up there and have a go. And yeah, it doesn't matter what game you end up, buffalo game, croc game. There's a million of them. So yeah, it's heaps to do, and you can't see it.
You're giving me another idea, and I was like, if humans of agriculture could try and do one thing or make a goal of yours come true in the next few years, would it be that to try and find the chance to stand in front of Year 10 students?
Yeah, I'd definitely love to. One day I'd love to. Like, I think I've got, because I've done so many unique things. I think I've gone through a lot of trials and whatnot. Just like, it'd be cool to get a lot more kids out in the bush and whatnot. Because back in the day, there used to be just heaps of young people, and they'd go up there, or seemed to be a lot more families in the bush. Now it's sort of the corporate world sort of taken over a little bit up there, and they own a lot of the country up there, so it's just high turnovers, So yeah, definitely if I got the opportunity, I wouldn't hesitate one bit. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Clancy, thank you so much for sitting down and having a chat. It's been fascinating, and thanks for sharing your story with us.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for your time. It was awesome. Appreciate it.
Cheers, mate. Now, if you're sitting here and you're thinking that you know someone who's like a Clancy and has these extraordinary stories and experiences that just more people need to hear and understand, I think, firstly, we would love for you to share Clancy's story. It is remarkable. And if you've got other people that you think this Humans of Agriculture platform, the podcast, could really play a key role in uncovering a little bit more about their story and sharing it with even just one other person that could take something from it, please reach out to us. hello@humansofagriculture.com, because we'd always love to hear from you. Stay safe, stay sane. See you next week. Bye.